Welcome back to episode 19 of the Just God Pod. Today I got on two Northern Virginia natives. I've had the pleasure of seeing them, I don't want to say grow up because we haven't known each other our entire lives, but I've seen them develop and grow into young men over the past couple of years. J.W. Kohlmeyer and Caden Merritt. How are you guys today?
Great, great,
Doing
man.
good, brother.
Awesome,
Doing
Awesome.
good.
awesome stuff. I want to give a big shout out to this show's sponsor, GreaterPurpose.co, whose mission is to equip and empower business leaders to build great businesses for a greater purpose. And we're going to go straight into the verse of the week. And Caden, we'll start with you. Caden, what's your verse of the week?
So I actually I went through many the
Mm,
last couple of weeks since we've been waiting. It took me forever. But I was watching or listening to a podcast on the way home from my girlfriend's house the other night by Bryce Crawford. I don't know if you know who that is,
yeah,
but it was about anxiety. And my verse is Proverbs 12:25. You want me to read it?
yeah, go for it.
Okay. So it says, anxiety in the heart of a man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad.
Mm.
I
What
thought that was so
yeah, what
powerful.
what
Yeah,
stands out about that? I mean, anxiety is a real thing that I think a lot of people
yeah,
struggle with in this world,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
uh,
and me personally, big time, which is definitely why I chose to talk about this
yeah,
verse this week. But I think the thing that stands out to me is a good word,
mm,
mainly in this part. And to me, I mean, it could be a good word, different scenarios for a good word for multiple people. But for me, that's the gospel.
yep,
That good word is the gospel, and that good word is that anxiety and the evil things that are causing that anxiety in my heart,
hmm
um, were already killed on the cross. Like
yeah.
those things were diminished already. So that good word is what I always resort back to every time I start to get a little bit anxious, and it's unbelievable.
Dude, that's
that's good.
awesome. That's really good. I mean, I'm going through Proverbs right now with one of my Bible studies. A couple of kids in my from my high school. We meet on FaceTime, like I said, going through Proverbs, and we talked about this verse
Mm-hmm.
pretty heavily whenever we were reading chapter 12. And yeah, like I said, I think it is certainly something that a lot of people struggle with. But I love what you just said. Like it was killed on the cross.
Yeah, it
Like
was killed on the cross.
we
Yeah.
can go to Christ with any of this, with anything that
Mm-hmm.
weighs us down, because he bore that for us already.
Yeah,
Um, and the outcome's already written. And like I'm pretty sure you guys have seen. I don't know if I sent you guys this video, but I'm sure you've seen it. It's the pastor that talking about he would record the 49ers games
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
on Sundays because he was pastoring, and if the 49ers won, he would go back and just watch the game, and if they lost, he wouldn't watch. But the ones that he would watch, he'd see the quarterback throw an interception, but he wouldn't be worried about it. Like he wouldn't have
Yeah,
anxiety
That's
because
good.
he already knows the outcome.
that's
He
Yeah,
knows that
awesome.
the
Yeah,
49ers are going to win.
yeah,
yeah,
And I don't know why, but that verse kind of just anytime anxiety gets brought up, I'm like, the outcome is finished. Like
hmm
we have the ultimate victory already in
yeah,
Christ, and so we
yeah.
don't have anything to worry about in this life. And so
for sure.
uh, I love that verse, and thanks for opening up and sharing that with the listeners.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Jada, what do you got for
Um,
us?
yeah, I got First Thessalonians 5:15, and it says that see that no one repays anyone evil for evil, but seek to do good to one another and to everyone.
Hmm. What
Um,
what stands out to you about that? I mean, especially in this world where
yeah,
um, before you answer, like I feel like in this world, it's like, all right, that guy did me wrong. I got to get back at him.
yeah,
I gotta get my revenge.
yeah,
I gotta do something. So what stands out to you?
yeah. I mean, I was just gonna talk about that, like, especially like in our generation, like in high school, like everybody's like so like somebody does something wrong to you, like, oh, I gotta get them back, or I gotta do the same thing that they did to me,
Yeah,
um, and just realizing like that's not what Jesus calls us to do. Like
yeah,
even, and I think what's super powerful is like say like somebody's or saying bad things about you, and a rumor floats around and it ends up getting to you, um, and then you go see that person
hmm
and you treat them like completely regularly,
yeah,
and they don't even know that you said something to them or that
yeah,
they said something to you. Um, so I think just like realizing like like we have to seek to do good to others. We're all made in the image of God, so might as well just love one another. And Jesus preaches that, all the time. And I
No
think
doubt.
that's super powerful to me, especially because like everything now, like I feel like in this world, like you got to fit in. If you don't do this certain thing, then you're not going to be looked at the same way. You're not going to have friends. And it's not like a brotherly love. Like sometimes that gets thrown away. Um, and I
Mhm.
and I just like how, like, I know, like this year, like with Caden just getting closer to God, and with Ben and all the other guys, Jeremy, like we've gotten so much closer because we've built our relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
And then, we obviously strive for the same goals and have the same love, for Christ as everybody else. So like we just come closer together. And I think that's what seeking to do good to others is.
Yeah.
So I think it's super huge, just to fall back on that and realize, like, yeah, this world is cruel, and like people are going to do messed up things to you, but you just have to find ways to love them for who they are.
No
So
doubt. I want to jump into. Let's start here because as you were speaking, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 11 kind of reminds me of what you just talked on. It says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just
yeah,
as you are doing." So
yeah,
Paul's writing to the church here, saying, "Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep building one another up in Christ."
hmm
And as you just mentioned, like you have a group of friends here, Caden included, but you got Ben, you got Jeremy, you got all the guys that go into complete game and do their
hmm
hitting and defense work and all that stuff, and you guys are building one another up in Christ, and
yeah,
it's just refreshing to see, I guess,
hmm
especially in Northern Virginia in that area
yeah,
where um, it is a very competitive area where everybody's kind of looking out for themselves and
hmm
trying to climb the ranks in whatever they're doing, whether that's the
yeah,
corporate ladder or their sport or what school am I getting into. Like it's a very competitive area, and so it's just refreshing to see a group of high school kids, young men that are building one another up and are trying to really just build a better life for themselves, and in
yeah,
doing so for the group in general. So hats off to you guys. I think it's just super cool because um, I think it's safe to say me and my high school buddies were not doing that. We were not we were not getting into the word together. We were doing a lot of other dumb stuff together. But I did then. If you guys want to flip to Romans 12,
yeah,
this that verse kind of or what you just mentioned, J Dub and Caden, kind of
hmm
remind me of Romans 12, um, verses 9 through 21.
yeah,
You guys there?
yeah,
All right, I'm gonna read it, and I think as for the listeners out there, like if the world could just do this,
yeah,
like if the world just does this, it'll be a much better
Amazing
world.
place. Yeah.
yes,
Let love be genuine, abhor what is evil, hold fast to what is good. Love one another with brotherly affection, outdo one another in showing honor. Do not be do not be slothful in zeal, be fervent in spirit, serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Never be wise in your own sight. Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord." To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. For by so doing, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
mm,
And I'm just like, it's right here. Like,
that's
you know what I'm
great.
saying?
Right there. Yeah.
Like that basically covers all the topics that this world needs to hear. Like,
Yeah,
like Paul here is just, I don't know, he was like just so far ahead of his time, and it's crazy that he's writing this thousands of years ago, and
Yeah,
yet
it's absurd.
yeah, it really
here
is.
we
Yeah.
are,
Yeah,
and we can't we just can't seem to get this world just can't seem to get it right. And I'm not saying that in a condemning way, because I know I certainly don't. I got evil in my heart. Trust me.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah, all
But
of us.
this getting into this word and getting building one another up as we've talked about is the only way to distinguish that evil from our heart and who we are in Christ and all that stuff. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and the listeners out there, because I think those verses right there just sum up what this world needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about like your guys' relationship. I mean, you guys, obviously grown up with each other, but from where you guys started to where you guys are now to what the future kind of entails and holds for you guys, like what does your guys' relationship look like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
You want to start?
So yeah, I can start. I mean, I think I've always known like Caden, like just playing with stars and stuff, but freshman year, since we both go to Gainesville, is when I truly like really met him. And I think both of us were completely different people than we are now.
Oh my gosh.
But
Connor can attest to that too.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've just grown like over the 4 years. We've just grown so close, and like, I think what's really cool is like in class, like and we have government together, and when we finish our work, we'll both pull up our Bibles and read together. Like the teacher will put on the news or something, and it'll be going off about politics and stuff, and me and Kane are kind of just diving into the Word together, and I think that's like that kind of sums it up right there. But I don't know, I think it's really cool, and we've both grown, over the years, and Kane, what else you got on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say over this last year, I mean, out of our group is the one that kind of started it from Conder, Coach Conder. Yeah, I mean, you were the one you and Carter were the ones that planted the seed for me, for sure.
I think that's
I mean, it's spread like wildfire in my heart.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because and for the listeners, I'll give you a little background. We work out at home. We're all baseball players, and we work out at Mike Colangelo's facility. It's called Complete Game, and I've been going there for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And you guys have been going there for a while as well. And so, just really showing up to the facility. You come in contact with a lot of different people, and you guys, like you guys said, like when we first met each other, we were all very different people.
Yeah.
And it goes to show the transformational power of God and what He can do in our lives. And now, Complete Game has a Bible study. And 5 years ago, if you were to tell me that Complete Game would have a Bible study, I literally would have been like, tough luck. That's just not going to happen. Like
if you would have told me I would be on this podcast 5 years ago, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm right there with you. So, talk what and you guys mentioned Coach Conder, and we'll kind of dive into like what he's done a little bit later. But like running the Bible study at Complete Game, again, in an area like Northern Virginia where it's very competitive. Especially, I mean, you guys, all different high schools, different travel teams are all meeting here at this one place, and in a world, as we just read, and J Dub, you touched on it, but in a world full of evil and competitiveness, and trying to one up the other person. Like, how do you guys kind of manage and run that Bible study along with all these different people?
Yeah. So I mean, it all started like I remember it was around Christmas time, and I brought it up to Kyle Witten, and then I talked to Caden about it, and Ben and all the other guys, and then Carter when you got home from Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, maybe he's like, dude, we should get a Bible study going. I was like, I literally just talked about that like the day before he brought it up to me.
It was so weird because the day you brought it up to me, I talked to Kyle that morning about it.
I mean, it was just God was.
We got to do this.
God was, he said, let's go. But so yeah, we started the first meeting, and I would just started sending texts out to people, created a group chat, and be like, hey, we're gonna meet 6:30 on a Saturday night. Like, if you can come, we're gonna read some stories about Jesus. Like, we're gonna talk. And so first meeting we had, Carter was there, and that was a great meeting. Coach Mike was there. Like, it wasn't just high schoolers; it was college players, it was coaches, and that's what I think is so cool. And I know all the college players are back home or back at their university, but like now, like we have coaches come in. So like Nick, who's Fontana, he comes in with us.
That's awesome.
Like, it's not just the high schoolers; it's all ranges, from freshman to senior to 22-year-olds. Like, it's I think that's really cool how God just, like, it's not just a certain group of people.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. Caden, what else you got?
I think what's so cool about it is that, like, we know in a few months we're going to be going to war with each other, and we're going to want to hate each other while we're on that field. And I mean, we're going to be trying to beat each other, and we get to have that moment where we're not doing that and we're more serving each other. And I think that creates an environment, like, in that facility and around this area, like no other. Like, that outdoes any competitive, ego-filled environment by far. That energy is ridiculous. So,
and I think
I personally look forward to walking into that facility every day now. Like, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool to see, because like, not only it's cool to see like the guys grow in their faith, but just over time they become better people. And like, we're all driven by God driven. So now, like, we hold each other accountable and stuff, like whatever it is. And I'm glad, Caden, you brought that. We're like, the season's coming up and everything. And I think I've said this before, but like, I think it's gonna be really cool when, like, after we play Battlefield or Patriot or whatever, I'll text Chase or Louie or Grayson, whoever it is, and be like, hey man, like, win or lose tonight, like, after we shake hands, let's go pray on the mound together. Like, and people, I think the coolest thing, like, people watch and people will see, and that'll just change the community, like that. Like,
100%.
It's not normal. Like, what we're doing, like, it's not normal. And I think people will, like, people's heads will start to be like, oh, what are these guys doing? They just played a game that was 8-7, and it came down to the last out. Like, what I would be so mad, or like, something like that. And people, like, I think people will see, and that can affect their lives just as much as it'll affect our lives. So I think that'll be really fun too, and I'm super excited to do that.
I'm so excited for you guys. And we mentioned it, like, the first Bible study when I was there. Like, we mentioned that, and I think this was Coach Colangelo that brought this up, but like, he was like, this, like, animosity and, like, rivalry, like, that's in this Northern Virginia high school baseball is, like, it started from the adults. Like, the kids weren't born and brought into this world, like, hating Patriot High School. Like, how does that just come to be? And it's like, well, because sometimes the coaches and the adults and the surrounding people, like, build it up, and then like, we're just a product of the players. The kids are a product of the environment that they're surrounded by. And for you guys to actually, like, go out there and do that and pray with one another after the game, it's like, well, the parents are like, dang, like, 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 hey, I want to check myself here.
Guilt tripping them.
Not that is, like, obviously that is not why you guys are doing it. But it's I mean, it's gonna, like, make them kind of, like, take a step back and really think about, like, what's truly important in this life. Because I promise you, whenever you guys leave high school, like, high school baseball just doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, I look back and I had an absolute blast. I met some of my best friends. I had some of the best times of my life in high school baseball. But win or lose, like, nobody's, like, thinking about Battlefield High School in 2019. Like, how their season went. Like, come on.
I
And
couldn't tell
so
you.
when
Yeah.
you guys are gone and you guys are both committed to play Division I baseball, and you guys are both gonna have great careers, and you're just gonna look back and be like, high school baseball was fun, and like that's really it. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not like you're not gonna remember every game or every pitch or every inning, and
Right.
it's not gonna matter. And so
Yeah.
we get so worked up about these things, and
Yeah.
like a week after the game ends, you guys are gonna play Patriot or Battlefield, and somebody's gonna be mad that they lost, and then a week after they're gonna forget that they even were mad about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
let's
100%.
really focus on on what really matters. And
On
so,
what matters. Yeah.
Big scheme of
100%.
things.
Yeah.
but yeah, kudos to you guys again for building that environment, because as you said, J Dub, it's not normal for this to happen, because for years it's been what I went through, like the
Yeah.
hatred and the rivalry and the cussing and the
Yeah.
Mhm.
all this stuff, and it's like, for what, like what are we doing? And so kudos to you guys for doing
Yeah.
that.
100%.
Well, and we mentioned Coach Conder. I had the pleasure of meeting him I guess only that one time at the Bible study at Complete Game, because
Yeah.
he showed up. But if you guys could kind of introduce him and like talk about the impact that he's had, like I'm seeing it from afar, and I'm like, this guy is reviving Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Like it's
No,
it's
100%.
incredible stuff.
Yeah.
So
He's
Caden,
amazing.
Caden, you start us
I can
off.
start because you know a little bit more about him than I do. But yeah, I mean, he's amazing. We walk into Bible study at 6:45 at Gainesville in the freezing cold, and he's standing there with the door open, just to let people in with worship music on, like just smiling, and we're all freezing. Like, how, dude? What? 6:45? It's 20 degrees. What are you doing? I mean, he's just it spreads like wildfire though. Like that immediately is a change in your day, and you're like, yeah, this is how I want to serve other people and worship God and enjoy my day and not live with this burden on my heart. Yeah. I don't talk. We haven't talked with him much actually, but I've just seen his actions, and he's amazing.
He doesn't need to say anything.
No.
If he he's doing, he doesn't need to say any words. So
no.
Go ahead, J Dub.
Yeah. So I mean, Coach Conder was the one that set me on the right path. Like, he completely changed my life. A year ago is when I met him. A year ago in the winter. And my next door neighbor, one of my best friends, he plays football, and Coach Conder's the quarterback coach at Gainesville, and he's also a pastor. So he introduced me to him. And then in the summer, like, we would go to his house for Bible studies, or his apartment. And there would be, a couple guys, and we would go learn from him, and he would start teaching us. And if we had more Coach Conders in the world, like if we had a Coach Conder for every county and every state, then there'd be so many people coming to Jesus, and the world would be such a better place, because he literally has, like you said, he's been reviving Northern Virginia. But yeah, so we would go to his apartment for Bible study, and then we kicked off in the August or October at Gainesville. We started Bible studies there, and he taught us all how to do Bible studies and spread the gospel, and not be so like counter focused on one set of people. Once you get one set of people, you can train those people to get another set of people. They can train those people to get another. Just this whole snowball effect, all about multiplying. And like one of the cool things that Conder does is, he's not the guy that like text you once and never text you again. Like, I talk with him every single week. He's always texting us, like sharing the gospel. Hey man, how's your week going? Is there anything that's going wrong, or like, is there a burden on your heart? Like, he's always there. He's a true mentor, like true mentor, true friend. Like, he's always there for you, no matter what. Like, I know he has every single one of our backs, and he's just like, he is the like perfect, follower. I mean, I guess there's no perfect follower of Christ, but like, you think of a perfect follower of Christ, you think of him.
Yeah.
And it's just so, I'm just so grateful that God put him in my life. And I've only known him for a year, and the impact that he's had on me has been unbelievable. And I can't even put it to words. Like, it's just wild.
And
I
that
think
He's
has
a great guy.
sorry, go ahead, Gabe.
Okay. And that has had kind of a cause and effect relationship, like, on me as well. Like, he started with you, and that kind of ran down the train,
Yeah.
down the tracks to me. And I'm so grateful that he
Right.
changed your life, because that
Yeah.
read into me, and that changed my life. So
And I think that's like the coolest, like one of the cool things is how he, pours into one person, and then or multiple people, right? And then, like, that person, like me, like, I see how he poured into me, and now I know how to go pour into somebody else. It's like I poured into all the Gainesville guys, and then we go to the battlefield, then we go into Patriot, Westfield, Highland, like all these schools, Longwood with Tyler Bassett. He has his own group there. Like, and I say this, like, just how you guys, or Carter, you were saying, like, 5 years ago, no way, Bible study at Complete Game. Like, in the summer, if you were to ask me, like, or if you were to tell me that we would have 100 and some kids show up at 6:45 at Gainesville in the morning, I'd be like, no way. And then if you were to tell me if we were to reach 10 plus other schools plus a university in a semester, then I would say, yeah, no, you're actually crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't realize 7 months ago about how God works. So, he works through people, and it's just, you can't put it into words. You can't put it into words. It's crazy.
It's truly incredible stuff. Like,
Yeah.
seeing what, I mean, there's literally FCAs being started all across Northern Virginia high schools, and it's like, we just didn't have that when I was there, and that's not anybody's fault. I'm not here like saying shame on whoever. Like, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at, like, what you just said, the power of God, and how he can just, boom, 10 schools got an FCA, and the word is growing and flowing throughout the school system and throughout Northern Virginia, and it's not being led by pastors and being led by these wise theological old guys or old women. It's like, it's the high school kids, and I think it's beautiful stuff, and I think that's, like, 100%. Just so encouraging for everybody out there to hear, is like, God can use you right where you are. Like, you don't have to be like a pastor of a church or a CEO or a star athlete, like, to share the word or to, like, grow the kingdom. Like, you can do it right where you're at, like in your cubicle or wherever God has you. Is exactly where you're meant to be, and he can use you in mighty ways. And I think you guys are literally a living testament of that, and it's so inspiring for me to see. And I think what the truly cool part about this is, and you guys have already talked about it, but, like, how the trickle down effect, and how Coach Conder does a phenomenal job of mentoring one person or a group, and then that group then goes on and mentors another group, and it literally like that's how it's starting to happen in Northern Virginia. And it's like, what a effective way that he's running this whole operation. Like, what a mighty way that God is using Coach Conder to literally reach thousands of high school students in the area. And it's just incredible stuff. And I just got goosebumps thinking about that. Like, it's awesome stuff, dude.
And I think that's the thing to harp on how Coach Conder gets a group of people, just like Jesus did, right, with the 12, and then sent them out 2 by 2. Like, he got a group like me and Ben, and then me and Ben 2 by 2 went out, and like, he preaches all the time, get to the 4th generation within your group. Meaning, like, so me and Ben are the first. I go train Caden and Tyler and Jeremy, and they have their group. They're the second, and then they train people inside of their group, and they go have a group. There's the third, and then those people train people inside of their group, and then they go make a group, and there's the 4th generation. And it's literally just like, you can't. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's not that one person has to go out and do it all. One person knows a little bit and shares it to the next person, and then he can go do the same thing. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah, no doubt. That reminds me of somewhere in Ecclesiastes, and I know you, J Dub, I believe you're a fan of Ecclesiastes.
Yeah. Yep.
Here we go. Yeah, chapter 4, verse 9. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Like,
Yeah.
the importance of, and something that, I mean, the pastor at the church I go to down here in Tampa actually talked about this weekend. But the importance of not doing it on your own, like of having others that you can fall down and they're right there to pick you back up. Like,
Yep.
I love how it literally says, "Woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up." Like, just looking back at like I guess my life. Like, I think, and this is gonna sound like pretty poorly of me to say, but like, I'll do things on my own so that I would receive the credit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
100%.
what am I doing? You know, and then I look back at like the successful things that I've ever done, and it's always been because of the people around me. It's never been like just me doing it. It's been because I've had such a strong support group, in just whatever I'm doing. And it's like, why am I continuing to seek glory from man if I do this on my own? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I was convicted hearing that word, and I guess what I'm getting at is what you guys are doing, and we mentioned 1 Thessalonians 5:11, like building one another up. It's like it's just so hard to go throughout this life alone, and God doesn't want us to do it alone. He literally, like, we are made for companionship and friendship and relationship, and obviously He set that standard when He sent His Son to die on the cross for us, and we could have that relationship. And then now, like I said, He set that standard to what it really looks like. And what you guys are doing and what you guys have is no different. So awesome stuff.
For sure.
I wanted to ask you guys this question. Really, just, I think it's fascinating to hear young adult responses to this question, because you'll hear a variety of different responses. But if you could tell the listener out there that doesn't have a relationship with Christ one thing about Christ, what would it be?
Okay, you can start.
Okay. I'm going to start with just a short line, and then I'm going to give you a backstory on why I picked it. I would just say, like, God is love. I'm going to say that because, so backstory, I've always thought about, like, or if I read love in the Bible or what it is and what it says, like, what is love? Like, and how is that shown? And so one day I was driving in my truck. I was with Alyssa, my girlfriend, and I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, what does this word mean? Is it an action? Is it a feeling? Is it not? Like, is it fake? What is it? And all of a sudden, so I see this guy on the side of the road, and I stop because he's selling stuff. He's a homeless guy that's selling some stuff, and I have no idea. Like, I want to kind of serve somebody. I want to go help that guy out. And so I go serve this guy and give him some money, and he's selling paintings, right? And I have no idea what they are. I'm just like, here, whichever one you want to give me, that works. I give him some money. We interchanged names. His name was Gary. He's a great guy. And he handed me his painting, and it just says, God is love. And I was like, wow. Oh my gosh. I thought, I was
you didn't tell me that.
I mean, I got goosebumps. So I was like, yo, like, this is crazy. And then I recognized all of his paintings were about Jesus and God. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I would definitely say God is love, but not only love, he's unconditional love. No matter what, he's going to meet you right where you are and love you. And I think that is so powerful, because that's how we can live our lives. With our number one priority being love, because behind love comes serving people, treating them with kindness, treating our enemies with kindness, changing other people's lives. So Yeah, I would say God is love. Yes.
Yeah,
That's
good.
that's an awesome response. I mean, that is one of my mentors said. Like he always used to say, like love is a person, or like mercy is a person, or grace is a person, and it's God.
Yeah.
And so like when you really think, and then whenever he said that, I really thought through it, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
like it is like love is a person. It is Christ. It is God. It is what he did and the example he set, and how he loves us day in and day out is God truly is love. Like it's why we do the things we do, and why we serve, like you just said, serve others, and treat people with kindness, and do all the things that he did for us. And I think that's just such a powerful response, and even cooler story. I did not know where that story was going when you
I
were
haven't
talking.
even told
either.
anybody, honestly.
Yeah, you didn't tell me. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That's really good. Jada, what do you got on that?
Yeah, I think peace and purpose. Because like for me, I don't think I've ever been a super a crazy anxious person, but after like when I started to really buy into my faith in August, since then my life has been just so peaceful.
Yeah.
And like in the sense of like Caden said, like God's love is just so unconditional, and like you can't. There's nothing that can take God's love away from me.
No.
And then purpose, like before I really put my faith into Jesus and before I really bought in, like I thought I've always been on earth to play baseball, and that was it. And I didn't really ever think of like, there's got to be something more. And in August, when I first opened up my Bible that my mom got for me, I think it was like August 2nd or something. I opened it up and literally just an immense amount of peace. And then I realized like,
yes,
maybe there is something more.
Yeah.
And so now like I truly think like I'm a messenger for Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like I think I sent the verse to you, Carter, but Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the whole armor of God so that you can stand against the schemes of the devil." And like that's how I try to live my life. Like I've tried to, like you actually were the first person that like brought that up to me. Like when people see you, they hope they see God and then Carter hanging out behind.
Yeah.
And that's like when you said that, like I was like, yeah, that's how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
So I think like for a person that is, doesn't know Jesus or wants to have a relationship with Jesus, like Jesus would completely change your purpose on this earth, and he would just give you an immense amount of peace that I can't describe. Like what's really cool is God's given us this great gift of baseball, and that's how we all connected, and that's how you can share the gospel. Like for me and Caden and Carter, like instead of talking about whatever it is in the cage, like you can talk about God, and that's just perfect. That's just perfect. So I think for someone that is just seeking for a relationship with Jesus, like he will change your purpose on this earth, and then he will just give you so much peace. So I think that's my response.
I want to piggyback on your peace part, because I mean, I want to say God is love, but the peace part is so big for me too, because I know Carter, and you know this because of our Bible study at CG, but this all started for me first when you had me dig into Luke around Christmas time, J Dub, and start reading. But the game changer for me, like when it all kind of switched, was when like that night, like that I remember that day. I was talking to you earlier in the day about your knee and your struggles and what you do day to day to make sure that it doesn't hurt the next day.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because like I had thought about that. I was like, man, sometimes there's things that I got to do to make sure my body feels better or whatever. And then I put it out of my mind. And then you came in and told your story and that testimony. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we just talked about this morning.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I don't know if you remember, but you told me, stop fearing things when God can take care of them for you. And I was like, I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like when I was talking to you, I was like, yeah, right, yeah. But then I started thinking about it, I was like, oh my gosh, like you're so right. I've always been a super anxious person. And I think a lot of young men and women,
100%.
especially young male athletes, deal with that and deal with performance anxiety.
Yes.
And like as a baseball player or being a high level baseball player, especially, I think you get a lot of pressure put on you to do things, and you feel like you are expected to do things day to day, and if you don't, that anxiety is just ridiculous. And the moment that mindset switched for me, and I realized that like it's if I put it in God's hands and I do this, like my life changed immediately. Like it was like I'd be driving down the road, I was a little anxious, I turn a worship song on and it goes away immediately.
Yeah.
Like what the heck, dude? Like
like why haven't I been doing this the past
I know
5 years of my life?
No.
Yeah.
It's a peace that transcends all understanding, as it says in Philippians. And I'm sure Caden, you're familiar with Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, give it to God through prayer and supplication, and He will guard your heart and your mind, and surround you with a peace that transcends all understanding. And I'm just like, that truly is it. And it's I can't describe it. Like whenever I'm talking to people about it, like people think I'm like this, like a lackadaisical or like nonchalant kind of guy, and it's like it's not that I don't care about life or care about what I'm doing or care about my sport or whatever. It's just the fact that like
you feel at peace.
And in the grand scheme of things, like I'm good. Like like
and I think
I'm chilling.
that is such a powerful thing, because like not me personally, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that struggle with this, and maybe some people deal with depression, and sometimes day to day they're like they don't feel like they don't have a purpose, and they feel like, man, why am I here? And they start to question those things. Our suicide rate is higher than it's ever been. And I just want to say, in case there's anyone listening that is struggling with that and looking for this as a resource or had a bad day, like if you don't want your life, give it to somebody that does. Because no matter what, like he wants it, and he wants to help you. And the minute that happens, like God is not going to let you down. He craves that relationship with you, and I think that's such an amazing thing.
That's so good, dude.
Yeah,
that's good.
J Dub, you want to add on that?
I mean, Caden hit it on the nail there. But I think going back to just like as a baseball player and realizing like that there's nothing that I can do in baseball that's gonna live up to the glory of God or get me into heaven. So I think like, and I've told Caden this and other guys, but like my goal like for this season is to just promote God the best that I can on the field. Like I truly, like everybody talks about like, oh, it's like God's plan. And when I heard that, like, I was always kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever. But after like putting my faith into Jesus, like it truly is like whatever happens. And if I go out there and if I'm 0 for 4 with two strikeouts and whatever it is, but I promoted Jesus the best way I could, and I loved others, and I prayed with everybody, like, and I treat others the right way, like that's what matters. Sure, it might suck going 0 for 4, but like, bro, whatever. It's baseball. Like it's a hard game, anyways. So I think just like finding a way to promote God on the field and just in everyday life, right? Like and actually, I think Kate, we were talking about it earlier in class, but like 1 Corinthians 10:31, maybe. I think it says, whatever you do, do it in glory, do it for the glory of God. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. I love that verse. Because you just said like whatever you do, you know,
whatever.
like
Whether you eat or drink, right?
That's it. And It's funny. I literally have Colossians 3:23. Like I'm on the page right now, but it also says, "Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men." Like,
Yeah.
so we can go about our life, and as you just mentioned, like we want as baseball players, we are competitive. Like we want to win. We are not saying like throw in the towel, let the other team win. You know, everybody gets a trophy. Like that's not what we're doing. It's like God still wants you to work at it with all his heart. And then in turn, like using the gifts that he's given you, we can glorify him.
Yes.
Through whatever we do. And that, whether that's working as a janitor, working as a CEO, working like whatever, like whatever we do,
literally,
we can do it for the glory of God.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
That's really good stuff, guys. I usually give this time to, you know, if there's something that I didn't bring up or talk about in my episode and you guys wanted to touch on, I usually just let my guests kind of have a freelance opportunity here. If you guys have anything, if not, we can wrap up, but whatever y'all got.
Okay, you got something? Let me try and think here.
Definitely do. I want to get it out now too, because I'm gonna come back and be like, dang it, I wish I said that. I would say I wanted to say kind of how God has changed who I am as a person, because
we can go there.
I think so I will admit from the get-go, I think Carter would know this because he met me when I was a sophomore, but I was definitely a very boastful athlete in person. Like I thought very highly of myself, for sure. And I think that caused me to treat some people poorly. And I got better with it naturally as maturing, but the minute I opened up that gospel and I read about what the actions of Jesus and what he did and how he treated other people, I was like, dude, I'm not that good. Like, come on, what's wrong with me? And that immediately changed my outview, because I think it came at the perfect time for me in my life, because like with being scouted and maybe going to do something else or play at Coastal and have some younger guys look up to me, like that helps me resort back to keeping that head on my shoulders and not being like, oh, I'm better than you because of this, or I'm this great athlete. Like, no. It helps me kind of stay grounded, I think, and it has come in such a perfect time in my life for me to do it the right way and show, especially like our freshmen at Gainesville and at CG, like what it's like to live like Christ, and kind of plant that seed in them. And I think Dub has done that in such an amazing way. And me, and our entire team, I think that's why we're going to be good this year.
I agree.
He's telling me, but
I agree.
J Dub, before you answer that, I just want to say, Caden, like when I did meet you, and I was there too. Like I was there. Like the ego driven, you know. Look at me.
I think a lot of us are. Yeah.
We were just a product of the environment that we were in. Like
100%.
It's just a competitive area, and we're trying to earn the D1 scholarship, and then we're gonna go try to play pro ball and all that stuff. And like I said, product of the environment, but there's only one person worthy of any glory. And when you open up that book and you really read about what he did and what he did for me, it's like, who am I to boast? You know?
No, I have no right.
I have no right. And Galatians, I believe it's 6:14 says, it basically says that it's talking about I'm only going to boast in the name of Jesus Christ. And it's like, if I'm going to boast, it's going to be because of something that he did and what he did for me. And I mean, it's awesome to see the transformation that you've had. And, I just want to honor you and saying that, like, it's just been a blessing in my life to watch you mature spiritually. And obviously, as you said, like we mature as we grow, but really for you, like spiritually this past year, it's been like a whole different person. And it's again a testament to the transformation of the power of God.
All goes to him.
I kind of want to touch on that too, because Caden, like, I mean, I've known him for 4 years, but it's so cool, and I've told Carter this, but to see like when whatever you want to call it, like guiding you or mentoring you or helping you just dive into the word, um, it's so refreshing, like Carter likes to say, refreshing to see like how you not only grow in your faith tremendously, um, but just becoming such a better person. Like that's just so cool to see because like even guys like around you like see it like at a complete game. Like one day I think I was talking to Louis about it, and he was like, yeah, like Louis was like, yeah, like he really has like just kind of become a better person. Like, he doesn't do things that or say things like that he did like before, and I was like, yeah, like that's like mentoring people and discipling them and helping them like guide them to the word of God. Like they're gonna change like that, and
Yeah.
seeing that from you, like it wants to make it wants to make me keep going. Like that's just so. It's like Carter said, kudos to you. But like that's just so awesome to see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, of course, and
J Dub, I think
yeah,
you're getting ready to talk about
yeah,
your own transformation, but before we move
yeah,
on, just thinking about this and thinking about the way both of us used to live. Um, like I literally would judge somebody based on how good they were at baseball. Like
Yes.
yeah,
I would
Yes.
be like, I'm better than like I'm a better human being because I'm better at baseball than that kid. And
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
Like
like,
this
what
guy's
was I
trash.
thinking?
Like
Yeah.
no.
Like I can't even be friends with that guy because he's not good at baseball.
right, yeah.
And it's like what was I doing? Like
Come
What
on.
was
Yeah.
wrong with us? Yeah,
there's just so much more to life, and I think that's truly what God has revealed to me is like baseball is a blip. Like it's
Mhm.
not
yeah,
Yeah. In the end,
it's
like you're not just a baseball player. You got to be a husband. You got to be
whatever it
a
is.
son, a brother.
yeah,
You got to be those things. And
Follower Jesus,
baseball is the
baby.
center.
100%.
Then you're not going to be able to do those things. Like Jesus has to be the center,
Yeah,
and those things can get done the right
yeah.
way.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah, but I guess kind of I talked on it earlier and how God just changed my purpose in life,
Yeah.
to be a messenger for Jesus. But like before I really like bought in, I had a hole in my heart, and I tried to fill it with the satisfaction of the world,
Mm-hmm.
um, whatever that might be, and I tried to, I kept on going back to those things, and it never worked. Um, and now, like growing with Jesus and walking with Him for 7 months, um, he's slowly starting to fill that hole. It's not filled yet. I don't think it'll ever be filled, just because I'm gonna turn away from God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the one that's gonna let go. He's not. But just like I said, like the peace, and then I think like knowing like that, God is always gonna be there.
Yeah.
Um, like there's a verse, what John 16:33
Mm-hmm.
says, I've said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In this world you'll face tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world.
Yeah.
And I brought that up in Bible study last week, and that last part of like, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Like
Yeah.
I think in our faith, like the fact that since Jesus died for us on the cross 2,000 years ago, it kind of gets like put off to the side a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and like, but he died for us and then resurrected. That's the center of our faith. Like
Yeah.
he literally overcame the world.
Yep.
Literally, like everything in this world, he overcame it so that we can live through him.
Yep.
And I think that's just so powerful for me. And then Carter, oh my God, not Carter, Caden Colangelo sent me a reel the other day. And it was talking about how like, I forget the player, but how he was talking about how like baseball was his God.
Mm-hmm.
And that totally related to me. Like
Yeah.
I was always so determined to, be good at baseball and get to the next level, that baseball became my God.
Yeah.
And I lost true purpose of my real God, like our real God. Like I was like so determined, and I had to be the best in everything I did. and baseball became my God. And now, like looking back on, I was like, I was headed down the wrong path. Like maybe I was a believer, but I was a hypocrite, and I did things that didn't glorify God, and obviously I still do because I still mess up. But like just knowing that like God's always there, and he'll never ever let go of us. We're the ones that are gonna let go. I think that's super powerful, and just the peace, and obviously the peace and purpose that He's changed for me. So I think that would be my just how I've grown, how God's changed my life. So
Amen. Well,
yeah,
really, really good stuff, guys.
yeah,
Thank you guys for being open, vulnerable,
yeah,
honest with the audience. Certainly not easy, especially I wouldn't have done that in high school. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for just taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys
yeah.
got high school season quickly approaching, but just wanted to say thank you again and
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, dude.
Yeah. Continued prayers for you guys and for Coach Conder and all that he's doing throughout Northern Virginia and what you guys are going to do this season and in glorifying God and growing His kingdom. It's going to be incredible stuff to watch from afar. I'll tell you that.
100%.
I will tune in next Sunday. I got actually J Dub. This is kind of cool, but I got a former VMI baseball player coming on.
Okay.
I met him through some mutual friends. His name's Garrett.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, they called him Sarge.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to bring that up next episode.
Yeah.
I met him briefly. I know. Again, this is gonna be like sort of an introductory episode. Like it's just gonna be a different episode because I don't really know him that well. But I know that he's a devout follower and he's heavily involved in FCA at VMI and he's got his own devotional page on Instagram. So I'm truly looking forward to the conversation and getting to know him a little bit better. So super excited for that. Tune in next Sunday. Again, that's Garrett. But until then, take care and God bless.